Hello students, this is your first lecture class of Physics Standard 12th. I am B.S Pandey. Today we'll take introduction and syllabus review of your physics course. Student, your whole syllabus is divided in 14 chapters. This session 2021 chapter 14 chapter number 14 itself, it has been reduced. Only in NCERT you have to study 10 to 12% of chapter 14. Actually it is mentioned in detail that has to be covered in IIT and NEET, but for board you have to study only 10 to 12%. I will discuss in detail when we'll come there. The chapter number 1, it is the section called Electrostatics. In electrostatics there are two chapters. One, it is charge and field, and the second chapter it is electric potential and capacitance. It is electric device. We'll discuss charge and field, and the second one is the electric potential and capacitance. This is your chapter 1 plus 2 NCERT chapter 1 plus 2. In this first chapter, charge and field, you will study about the production of charge and how electric field, it is the electric field, how the electric field can be studied. The very little topic you have been covered in this electric charge and field in standard 10th also. What are the types of charge? Might be you have been heard about the physicist who have been given first about the lightning and thunder. Benjamin Franklin, who have been given the concept of charge. Then after, the amount of charge was calculated successfully by Benjamin Franklin, and amount of charge was calculated by Millikan by his oil drop experiment, in which he had calculated charge on electron as 1 point, amount of charge on electron as 1.6 times 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. You have been studied in your standard 10th course. In this second chapter, electric potential and capacitance, basically you have to study. Actually, you have been studied about the electric potential in standard 10th also, electric potential, that is called the voltage also. But here in 12th course, you have to study in detail. And the capacitance, it is a device. If you will recall about a device in your home, it is joined with your fan like a battery structure. It is called the condenser. That is the capacitance you have to study. Then after this two chapter, that is the first section, electrostatic, you have to study electric current, that is the current electricity. This is the first and second chapter. And the third chapter of NCERT, it is current electricity. Actually in chapter 1 you will study about the charge when the charge is in rest. Now, in this chapter, you have to study the charge in motional state. We'll study the charge in static state creates electric field. If charge is in motion, it creates electric and magnetic field adjoining this effect created by this charge is called electricity, which was studied by Maxwell in detail. So the electricity in this chapter, you will study first about the conductor, and you will study about the conductors. Then little circuit, electric circuits, Ohm's law you will study. You have been covered already in your 10th course, Ohm's law, which is the very easy. Might you are recalling that Ohm's law, V is equals to IR. And then you have to study about the cell and battery. And then in this chapter you have to study about the Kirchhoff's law. So you have to cover this 3 chapter till here, and the next chapter I will discuss in detail about this chapter. In next chapter, that is chapter number 4, you have to study about the moving charge and magnetism. Chapter 4 of your NCERT, it is moving charge and magnetism. In this chapter, students, you will study motion of charge in magnetic field, Ampere circuital law, basically. If current flowing through any conductor, how this conductor influenced by magnetic field. You will study about the Biot-Savart law, the very important. Every year or alternative year, the questions has been asked. Biot-Savart law. That is B.S. law. And then you have to study about the solenoid in the same chapter, chapter number 4, about the solenoid. You have to study Ampere circuital law, ACL, in this chapter, Ampere circuital law. And the most important topic of this chapter, moving coil galvanometer. Moving coil galvanometer, MCG. Then you have to study the conversion of MCG in this chapter. Next, you have to study chapter number 5. In this chapter, you will study about the magnetism and matter. Magnetism and matter. You will study in this chapter about the artificial magnet, and after that, studying that artificial magnet, you will study about the Gauss law, earth magnetism, and properties of magnetic material. This is the small chapter. I think 4 to 5 lecture will be sufficient in this chapter. And then chapter number 6. Chapter number 6, that is the electromagnetic induction. Electromagnetic induction. In short, EMI. You will recall EMI, electromagnetic induction. In this chapter, you have to study about the magnetic flux. Try to recall, in chapter 1 we have been studied about the electric flux, that is the counting of electric field lines. Now here in this chapter you will study about the magnetic flux, that is the counting of magnetic field lines. Next in this chapter you have to study Faraday law of electromagnetic induction, Lenz's law, and conservation of energy, motional EMF, electromotive force, ED current that produce in transformer and metallic plates. Then you have to study inductance. Inductance will be the important topic because every alternate year the question in either 3-mark section or 5-mark section had been asked induction, that is the induction or inductance. The two types, self-induction and mutual induction. This is the chapter number 6, that is the electromagnetic induction. In last this chapter you have to study about generator, AC generator, and then chapter number 7. Chapter number 7, it is AC, that is the alternating current. Alternating current. In short, you can write the AC. I'll discuss the weightage of these chapters when I'll give you the lecture individually about this chapter, or I'll explain you, or I'll give you in written what are the weightage for this session 2021. So in this chapter alternating current, you have to start with the production of AC current, that is the AC voltage, and then you have to study some AC circuit, and in last you have to study about transformer in this chapter, which is the very important. Transformer. There are two types of transformer, a step up and step down. Step up and step down. The two transformer you have to study, step up and step down. Then in first volume, the last chapter is chapter number 8. It is electromagnetic wave. Electromagnetic wave. This is another very small chapter. In second volume, students, you have to study chapter number 9. It is the section called optics. Actually, optics contains two sections. It is the ray optics and wave optics. The ray optics, chapter 9 and chapter number 10 will be wave optics. So this two chapter, it is called optics, ray optics and wave optics. Ray optics, you have to study about the mirror, lenses and optical instrument. The little topics you have been covered in standard 10th also. And the wave optics, it will be new for you, that is the wave optics. Basically in this chapter, wave optics, you have to study about the Heisen's principle and Snell's law and verification of Snell's law. You have to study in this chapter, that is the wave optics. Then you have to study in chapter 11, that is the dual nature. Dual nature of radiation and matter. In this chapter, you will study basically the experiment which was done by Albert Einstein. Next, chapter 12, it is atom, the small chapter. In chemistry, you have studied in standard 9th also, atomic model. So this is the atom. And chapter 13, it is nuclei. Nuclei. This is also the small chapter. And the last, it is chapter number 14. It is electronic devices. It is the part of condensed matter physics, that is the electronic devices. This is the small chapter. About this chapter, in starting, I have told you have to cover 10 to 15% or the 12%, not more than that. Till a topic, it is a Zener diode, you have to cover. So this is all about your syllabus of standard 12th physics. Now students, you can see the weightage chapter wise of your physics course. This one, I hope it is clear to you. The first chapter, it is electrostat, and the second electric current. In electrostat, you know two chapters, chapter 1 and 2, and then electric current, it is the third chapter of NCERT. And this three chapter contain 16 marks. You can see it is 16 marks. Then chapter number, here your three chapter covered. Then chapter number 4, 5, 6 and 7. So till chapter number 7 you have been covered. So this 4 chapter, moving charge and magnetism and matter. Then EMI, electromagnetic induction, and alternating current, that is AC. This 4 chapter contain 17 marks. You can see students, these 2 section, that is till 7 chapter, you are having the major marks. Next, you have to cover 3 chapter, electromagnetic wave and section optics, that is electromagnetic wave, ray optics and wave optics. It is of 18 marks. Then dual nature, atom and nuclei, it contains 12 marks. And the last chapter number 14. Here chapter number electromagnetic wave, chapter number 8 in volume 1. Now this optics from volume 2. Chapter number 8, 9 and 10. So till chapter 10 you have been finished. Here chapter number 11, 12, 13. Chapter 13. And this is the one section, 7 marks. Chapter number 14, electronic devices. So this is all about the marks bifurcation. You can see the total 70 marks of theory portion and 30 marks for practical. As you know, in practical portion, there will be two questions will be asked in examination from each section. That is two section, A and B. You have to solve two questions, one from section A and one from section B. From section A there will be 6 to 7 questions, and same from section B, that is 6 to 7 questions. You have to attempt one question from A and one from B. This will be one question of 8 marks, that is 8 into 2. It is 16 marks. This will be written as question number 1 in your exam. Now question number 2, it will be practical record book. Through entire session you have to perform the experiment in your lab, and you have to record the practical record book. The experiment you have to record, that is the practical record book. You will get 6 marks for this practical record book. Now the question number 3 in your examination, question number 3, it will be project, investigatory project. This project will be of 3 marks. Project will be of 3 marks. This project, remember students, you have to make a live model, working model of any topic concern, or I'll give you the topic. You have to make the project and you have to explain before the external. You will get 3 marks. Question number 4. This question number 4 will be viva. That is, throughout the session you have been performed the experiment and you have to give the answer. Your external will ask. This will be of 5 marks. Now you can see it is total 30 marks. It is total 30 marks. So this practical and theory overall 100 marks. In this way you have to prepare yourself for session 2021. So student, this is all about lecture 1. In next lecture we'll study about our course and we'll start chapter 1 of electrostatic section, the first chapter, electric charge and field. Thank you students.